Well, Kathy, thank you very much. That was an amazing introduction. And to hear Kathy Crow talk about what we've done is quite an honor, because I've always looked up to the Crow family for what they've done for our city. And Harlan and Kathy, thank you for your leadership, and thank you what you do for Dallas-Fort Worth and for the country. And I've been very blessed in my life. I've grown up with amazing parents and sisters. Now I've got my amazing partner, Sarah. We've been married over 40 years. And I've been very blessed in almost everything I've wanted to do. Everything important I've done in my life, I've had Sarah with me. And when I wanted to fly around the world, we were dating, and she agreed to it, and she supported it. And so all these things, she's always been there with me. And if you're going to be successful, you've got to have a great life partner. So Sarah, thank you very much. And I grew up, I literally lived the American dream. And my mother and father came to Dallas, and all their possessions were in the trunk of their car. And our city embraced my parents, allowed them to grow their business and grow their family. And we feel extremely important that we continue to embrace everybody that moves into our city. It is a very open society, a very open culture, and it's a culture where we're used to people moving in. I watched my father build EDS in our living room, and I'm the oldest of 5. I've got 4 sisters, as Kathy mentioned. I watched him build EDS. I watched his success. And the night before we went public, and Ken Langone's an honoree, and Ken took us public. That's how long I've known Ken Langone. My father said, look, tomorrow something's going to happen, and people are going to talk about our money. And he said, this family is not about money. Money's only a tool. It's a tool that you can help other people with. And so I watched that success, and we kept that philosophy in our family. Then one day I asked my father, I said, what are we going to do if we lose the money? He said, doesn't matter. We're going to make it back. And I said, what are we going to do? He said, well, if we have to, we'll start shining shoes. And so when I was in the military shining shoes, I really did take it seriously, that might be my backup job. So we built EDS, and then we jumped into the real estate business, and I watched my father really start the transformation of Dallas-Fort Worth while Trammell Crow was transforming Dallas-Fort Worth. We built the first high-tech campus in North Texas. He bought a project out of bankruptcy, which wasn't a bad lesson for a young real estate developer to watch. And he put the EDS campus. EDS grows so quickly. Every weekend we check on the project. And I said, Dad, are you ever going to fill these buildings up? He said, Ross, I hope so. Well, the buildings filled up before we even opened. And he went back. I learned a good lesson. We went back to the city of Dallas. We needed more zoning. And the city said no. So I watched my father dream big with a big vision. And he went up to North Dallas. He bought 2,000 acres, and he started a project called Legacy. And Tom Luce, who was our attorney at the time and who's helped us on these projects, he said, Ross, what do you want? He said, I want more density than downtown Dallas. And today, Legacy is about 100,000 feet below downtown Dallas. And so that's the world I saw. But in that world of partnership, we work with the cities, we work with the state, we built roads. And we established a reputation of working with our public partners. And I think what I want to emphasize from a development perspective and from the Manhattan Institute perspective is you have to work with the public partners. You've got to form these partnerships, and public-private partnerships are the key to most of these big projects. People think on the airport, the Alliance Airport, which Kathy mentioned, people think it was our idea. But it really wasn't our idea. That airport idea came to us from the Council of Governments and the FAA. And they came to see us. They said, look, you own land in North Fort Worth. And I started buying land in North Fort Worth in the 80s, and I had a piece of property, and I was flying for the Air Force out of Carswell Air Force Base. They said, would you donate land for an airport? And so for the public sector to go to the private sector, say, would you donate land for an airport, was not normal in most communities you work in. But we agreed. We donated the land. We put together the team, and as Kathy mentioned, we were young, and we were very ambitious, and we didn't take no for an answer. And they said, how long is it going to take this airport to build? And they said, oh, it's about 10 years. I said, well, if we're going to give you the land, we don't have time to wait 10 years. We got things to do. And so we formed a team. We did the environmental work. We did the zoning work, the engineering work. We put it all together. Every Friday we met with the FAA. And what you find in the public sector is your public partners want to win also. And we gave them, through the private sector, the ability to win quickly. And we said, what do you want to do? And so, in effect, they told us what they wanted to do. We'd go do it. We'd bring it back to them. We got it approved. That's why the airport opened within the 3-year period. And the other thing the private sector brings to the public is you have a market perspective. And we went out and started talking to the client base. Who wants this airport? And the FAA wanted a little airport to relieve traffic off of DFW. Quickly, the client base came back and said, look, you don't need a little airport. You need a big airport. Because the big airports in North Texas are full, Navy Dallas is full, Carswell Air Force Base is full, so that's what we built, the industrial airport, the next generation. Today, that airport, we have over 27,000 acres around that airport. We have 575 firms, we have 66,000 people go to work every day, 14,000 homes, and we're only half done. And we are now the largest taxpayer within the city of Fort Worth. We have spent, if you want to recreate Alliance, it'll take $15 billion today. This public sector put $1 billion in of the 15. The public sector has now received back over $3 billion in taxes for the billion they invested. These are extraordinarily profitable projects for the cities and for the state. And so these are the kind of programs that we're able to do with the public. And the critical thing we had public leadership. We had an extraordinary mayor. And if you're going to have a great city, you must have a great mayor. We had Bob Bolin in Fort Worth, and Bob Bolin's the one that allowed this project to happen. We then get called into Dallas, and Robert Deckard owns the Dallas Morning News, longtime friend of mine. He said, look, why are you in Fort Worth? You need to do something in Dallas. And so we pulled the team together, and we came in, and Dallas needed a new arena. We put together the team, we tried to do the arena, then we realized if you're going to be in the arena business, you got to buy a sports team. So we bought the Dallas Mavericks just to do the arena real estate deal. And a lot of people couldn't quite figure that out. But now, then that kind of dawned on me that it worked. So we used the arena. But then we had another great mayor, Ron Kirk, and a phenomenal city manager in John Ware. They teamed up with us, they were our partner, and then in order to get an arena vote passed, you had to go, we used presidential level polling to determine what the citizens wanted. The citizens didn't want an arena. What they wanted, we had a part of Dallas that was blighted, been blighted for 100 years. Power stations, meat packing, railroad yards, et cetera. And it was at the front door of Dallas. They said, if you would clean that up, we'll give you the vote. And so we had a very odd election season, special election for an arena. And what you learn is you pull the whole community through it. It was very controversial. The north side of Dallas, the prosperous side of Dallas, said no. The south side of Dallas, that needed jobs, they needed taxes, they said yes. And we won the vote by less than 1% of the votes, 1,642 votes. But it's back to the partnership, back to the leadership, and back to what these projects can do. That piece of land was worth $16 million on the city tax rolls. Today it's worth over $2.7 billion. And this is where, right next to this project, is where we're now building the new Goldman Sachs, their second headquarters called HQ2 coming to Dallas. So if you look at the market that we're in, we develop around the nation. And we're in these high growth markets of Dallas-Fort Worth. It's the highest growth market that we're in. And we are adding, since we started Alliance, we went from 3 million people to 5 million people. In the next 20 years, we should hit well over 11 million people. By the year 2021, Dallas-Fort Worth is supposed to be 33 million people. That's what we're building for within our community. We will pass Chicago in the next 4 to 5 years and be the third largest region in the country. Then New York and LA we should pass between now and the 2100. So that's what we're building for. That's the team. We're ambitious. It's an ambitious group, and that's what we're building for. And so when Paul Singer called me and asked me to accept this award, number one, of course, I'm standing up saying yes, sir, no, sir. And if you look at what Paul has done for this nation and what he continues to do for the nation, Sarah and I were more than honored to learn about the Manhattan Institute. And then Ryan came to see me, and all of a sudden I really could see the genius of what the Manhattan Institute does and how they're focused on building our cities. in building prosperity into our cities. And in our market, we have so many people moving in. 375 people a day are coming. And some of the great companies and individuals in the nation are now moving into Dallas, like Ken Fisher, who is with us tonight, Fisher Investments. You've got these men and women coming in, and I ask them, why are you coming? A lot of it is economic freedom. They want low tax, they want low regulation, they want affordable housing. But also what we're seeing in our state is very focused on economic freedom. It's a very easy state to live in. In our state, we passed a constitutional amendment to make sure we never have an income tax. So we didn't want the income tax. Then when that wealth tax started to float around, we passed a constitutional amendment last summer, never to have a wealth tax. And so we're really trying to lock down our state for economic freedom and pro-growth. And we've got a governor, and again, it's as I mentioned, it's leadership. It's leadership. You've got to have a governor that is pro-growth. I mean, Governor Abbott worked for 4 years on Goldman Sachs. Governor Abbott will give his personal cell number to every client that wants to come to the state, and he wants to hear from them if they have an issue. As I go around the country and develop in other markets, I thought that was normal, but it's really not. Again, this is what happens when you live in a high-growth, pro-growth, public-private partnership market, but it's not, and that's what our governor does. So the tone at the top with our governor, so I think this face mask covering your face, Rahan, I think Governor Abbott might pass that for you. If you get the right legislation put together, Harlan and I will go work on it for you and get it done. So we're very honored. I'm very optimistic about the future of this nation. As I mentioned, the people moving in, why are they coming? They're coming, again, the hard issues which I mentioned, but also there's a cultural issue. And we're seeing firemen and policemen moving into our communities from California. I asked the firemen, the policemen, I said, why are you coming? They said, Ross, I can't be a policeman in Los Angeles. The activists will harass my wife and my son at home. They come to Texas. A major couple from LA came in. I said, how do you like it? They go, I can't believe all the American flags on 4th of July. A major player from Seattle moved in our block and came in. I said, how do you like it? He said, Ross, I can't believe Christmas. Everybody decorates their home for Christmas in Texas. Again, I think that is normal, and I take it for granted. But we are in an amazing time. I'm very optimistic about our cities. I'm very optimistic and glad to be on the Manhattan Institute team and what you can do in the cities that are losing the business. I think they're starting to learn. This nation needs a great New York City. We need a great Chicago. We need a great San Francisco. We need a great Los Angeles. And I develop a lot in California, so I'm there a lot. And I said, look, you are the front door from the Pacific of the United States, San Francisco, LA. And you're starting to see the LA business community turn around, the San Francisco business community turn around. They need the ideas, they need the motivation, and they're going to be able to do it. But it has been a wonderful honor to be with you tonight. I look forward to many more years of being with this great institution. Thank you very much.